Make sure you join our Crypto Gamers and Collectors Facebook group for more information and discussions on crypto collectibles.
What's up, guys? In this video, I wanted to go through just the BBC publicity kind of post segment that we've got. We've just recently been posted on the BBC trending blog and news website. So we've had a video segment and a kind of radio segment. So we were on the radio for a while, which is a big deal. You know, BBC is not a small news site. It's one of the most popular in the whole world. In fact, I've pulled up some stats just to show you guys, and well, I was doing research anyway into this, just to see how big they actually were. So they're like they're ranked 7th in all of United Kingdom. Global rank of 88. Okay, this is the website bbc.co.uk. Traffic, they get about 600 million visits a month, which is, that's a collect. That's not individual people. That's people checking it out, maybe even on the daily. I'm assuming, 4 minutes average visit duration. So obviously people are quite engaged when they go onto BBC. The reality is like BBC is a big deal, right? 80% of the people checking out bbc.co.uk, which is where we were posted, come from the United Kingdom. So it wasn't as global as we'd want it to be, but it's a big deal. Okay. So what we got was a 6-minute video segment. And this is kind of a shortened clip of the 30 or 23-minute podcast or radio recording that we got. And it's worth listening to both. It's worth listening to this whole thing, but the highlights of this is pretty much this video over here, which is, I'll post both the links in the blog or in the YouTube video description so you guys can check it out. But definitely worth checking them both out. Some of the really good highlights were the journalist kind of interviews, a user, someone that has land. I think his name's Sam. What's his name? Sam. Yeah. Anyway, so Sam goes through like his thoughts and what he wants to do with the property, all that kind of stuff. And as he's doing that, a lot of the statistics, like, the fact that $28 million was raised during the auction, and, the concept of the mana token and all that kind of stuff is also communicated. Some really interesting points was that this guy was brought in kind of like a skeptic, David Gerard, who was the author of this book. I brought in like a skeptic or someone that has, reasons to point out the risks involved in this venture that Decentraland is taking. And the reality is that Decentraland are venturing out into a space that isn't charted. Like this space of virtual reality, blockchain, this mashup of blockchain, virtual reality, having an in-game mana currency, in-game currency that also fluctuates. So the economics of that, just having, all these limitations and so many pieces of the puzzles to piece together to build something beautiful. It really depends on a lot of people working together along with the Decentraland team, like, district leaders, people who are who have staked into the districts, people that are building content, people that are publicizing this news, like bloggers and YouTubers and tweeters and all that, Twitter people, personalities, like whatever it is, like everyone needs to work together to find success in this. So it's just interesting that some of his comments was that, the reality is that he's explaining here. And I think that's really, really correct. In terms of, if you want this to be big, if Decentraland needs to get really, really big into, first of all, virtual reality, not many people have even experienced virtual reality. Virtual reality is not a common thing at all to own a headset or even have experienced trying on virtual reality. It's still a very new concept. So to get people or the masses on board into Decentraland, the concept of virtual reality needs to be a lot more prominent. And I think Decentraland's going to do a really good job of having experiences worth experiencing in virtual reality. So hopefully two birds can be, hit with the one stone with the Decentraland. There'll be a lot of introductions to different experiences, just all kind of different things. You can play games, you can go learn things, you can, go on roller coasters, you can go buy clothes, you can do all kinds of things in Decentraland. So hopefully it'll be a really good mashup of all these experiences. It's kind of like a showcase of virtual reality and what it can do. What else did we go through? Oh, Mike Dent's video that he made was showcased. That's pretty cool. So the video is really interesting. So it's like a 6 minute highlights of Decentraland, which does a really good job of showing so far like some of the builds that are going on at the moment. So the journalist tries on some of the gear and checks out, what's on offer at the moment. I have a weird feeling that's modeled after Esteban. I'm not sure if I'm correct.
Through the trees, it's very surreal because there's different elements all mishmashed together. So it seems to be like a zombie just out in the distance.
I think this is part of a game.
Scary. Yeah, it's a whole different world in there. It's all colourful. It's like being in some sort of cartoon land, and it feels huge. So that the world will load
Ethereum on.
VR headsets and desktop browsers.
Making games.
Developers are using these blocks.
There's just so much going on. But I've realized through this that it's just the landscape is huge. Like there's so much open space, and people are developing their, builds on their little blocks or parcels. But can you imagine like once the world is out there and there's tens of thousands of blocks, and hopefully a lot of these parcels will be having content built on them. So can you imagine like this is probably like 5 or 10 experiences that we've just been showcased. Can you imagine having thousands and thousands of different things to go and visit? Like it's just, you can be immersed for hours, days, months, just going in there and experience. Like if you travel all the parcels within a month, every day, then you check it out 1 or 2 weeks later, it'll all be probably different. Like all these new builds. So there's so much to do. So Ari comes on and explains how the governance works and how it's going to be in terms of the founders of Decentraland are going to take a back seat, and it's not going to be them kind of putting the ban hammer on what's should be allowed to be posted in Decentraland or created in Decentraland. It's us as a community, as a decentralized kind of organization, collective organization, that are going to filter out what's majority not allowed, and like what we allowed to be within this world. So it's going to be based on, I guess, voting or however they're going to have that structure. But the concept of owners or the initial people that built the project not having the overall authority, again, it's a new venture. So even decentralization or this model of kind of governance is really new. I can't think of, like, it's very deeply ingrained into the world of crypto, but to see it actually play out where people have a vote to manage how it all works and what content gets put out, what happens, what doesn't happen, it's still like there's so much risks involved. Like there's a reason why there is a central governance. There's also a risk in that as well, but there's reasons why that's there. So it'll just be interesting to see how it all plays out. So Esteban comes in saying that he hopes to expand the economy to billions of dollars, which is exactly why I have invested. I really do believe Decentraland is a $1 billion coin, the Mana coin. The token, it's everyone that experiences the world of Decentraland or gets immersed into what it has to offer. You can't help but to become a really big fan or just really monitor the progress of it once you start to especially seeing what's being built. So once that really catches on and the momentum builds to a level of just like a tipping point, really think Decentraland is going to have its day of just shooting through the roof. It's already hit 30 cents in the past. It's been pumped to that and shortly after dropped back down to like 15 to 20 cents. But there's going to be a chance if it's been pumped to 30 cents, I'm sure it's going to eventually rise to above 30 cents stable in a stable manner, especially if BTC recovers, which it's kind of doing at the moment. I think Bitcoin's hitting $6,800, $6,900 levels right now as I speak. So there's just a lot to kind of look out for. So there's the radio segment that you can check out. BBC, like, they posted these segments on their Facebook page, which has 750,000 members. 750,000 members. So they posted it there. Quite a lot of, eyeballs. Their Twitter has 200,000. I can't open it. The Twitter has, that's right. The Twitter has 200,000 followers. So again, like, they're pretty big, right? So I think we were just posted like 5 hours ago on their Facebook. So things like this doesn't immediately get us a lot of traction. There's so many barriers to entry, especially understanding this all and becoming investors. It's big. There's a lot of hurdles in between that process, but I think it's a slow progress. It's a slow kind of a walk to build and get publicity out there, get a momentum of a lot of developers onboarding themselves onto the platform and building experiences worth being shared and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, check out the videos and the segments, the radio and the video. It's really worth understanding where Decentraland is at the moment and where it seems to go. And it's just interesting to see all the hype around it. Whether it's a journalist asking questions, whoever's involved in the project who are finding out about it, they're just genuinely interested and very surprised and seem to enjoy the experience of putting on virtual reality goggles. And virtual reality is a thing in itself where it's just an amazing experience. Like, I've done virtual reality. The other day I did virtual reality, kind of like a joyride. It wasn't a roller coaster. It was a ride in a theme park that took me like all the way up and then came down really, really fast and then went up this way and then that way. And it was like one of those. It literally felt like I was on a roller coaster. And although the seat, all that was happening was that the seat that I was sitting on was kind of tilting like this to kind of move my body in the direction of falling down or going upwards. The fact that I could see it kind of tricked my brain into thinking that I was actually on the ride itself. And I swear to God, my stomach was kind of like up here, and it was really weird. I knew consciously that I was not on a roller coaster, but you can't untrick the brain once it's been tricked. So it was just a really surreal experience. So it's got me really excited into seeing what else virtual reality has to offer. And it kind of convinced me that when people do try virtual reality experiences in Decentraland, there is going to be this element of remembering how crazy this space is. So very interested to see where Decentraland goes. Hopefully there's a lot more coverage like this to the masses and we get a lot more publicity.